Elkbar, written by Taylor Mosbey, illustrated by Chris Fason. Elkbar was an extraordinary penguin.
He had a twin turbo rocket pack. He had a thermonuclear refrigerator array, and he also had a digital watch.
All the other penguins were jealous because they didn't have cool stuff. Elkbar was sad because although he had cool stuff, he didn't have any friends. And no matter how nice he was, he'd never get the other penguins to like him. He tried to make some friends out of snow, but they weren't any good. They couldn't play or talk. They couldn't even do advanced calculus. Elkbar had no clue what he could do to become friends with the other penguins, but he knew something, he knew someone that might. Great and powerful Fargo Roberts, the wise moose of the Far East. And so after bagging a few sandwiches, Elkbar began his journey, and after many miles, finally reached the bottom of a really big mountain. He looked up and wondered, how long would it take to climb? Days? Months? Years?
Luckily, Elkbar had his rocket pack, and it only took him roughly 7.06285 seconds. Hello, Fargo Roberts, said Elkbar after he reached the top.
Who's that?
Asked Fargo Roberts in a wise and raspy voice.
I can't see.
It is only I, Elkbar the penguin, said Elkbar.
Oh,
Said Fargo.
what's shaking?
Not much, Elkbar said. I just need to ask you something,
I didn't validate my parking.
said Fargo, interrupting. No, it's not that, it's, Elkbar said.
Are you going to ask why I'm blind? Asked Fargo, interrupting again. Because I tell you now, I'm not really blind. I just took a vow of blindness. No, it's not that either. It's, Elkbar tried to say. Well, what is it? Fargo interrupting, yet again. You sure do interrupt a lot, said Fargo, in amazement.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you'll have to forgive me. I can't see when you're talking, said Fargo. Elkbar paused for a moment, then pleaded, I need to know how to make friends with the other penguins.
And Fargo tried to rest his chin on his hoof, but he missed it the first time because you know he can't see. But after a second, his chin was rested nicely on the roof, and he said, this problem baffles me. He thought and thought, and it looked as if he would never come up with an answer. Oh, but then he jumped up with enlightenment. I got it. You could make new friends. Out of snow. Hey!
I tried and it didn't work, said Elkbar sadly. Muffled Fargo. Have you tried being nice? He asked hopefully. Yes, said Elkbar, nodding. Right, said Fargo. I guess I could just give you a bottle of my patented Become My Friend Because You Have No Other Reason Not To potion. Elkbar jumped with excitement. That would be great! How much will it cost me? It's free with a $5 donation, said Fargo. Whoop-a-da-bee!
So after making a quick stop at the gift shop and buying the potion and a nifty t-shirt, Elkbar was on his way back to Penguintonia, which is where the penguins lived. But on his flight back, something unexpected happened. Big zombie Japanese beetles from Denmark began to attack him with slingshots.
Elkbar swooped and swerved in the sky, and he did a very good job of dodging all the rocks, but those beetles were right on his little tail. Just as Elkbar was escaping, a rock hit the bottle of potion, and it broke, and every last drop of the potion spilled out.
Oh, how Elkbar was so sad. He thought that he would fly back to Fargo and buy another, but because of all his fancy flying, he was running low on gas. He only had enough to make it home. In fact, he only barely had enough to make it home. His descent was a bit awkward, but he managed to land safely, although he had to walk quite a ways to get to town. When he finally did arrive at the edge of town, he noticed that there was something not right. Some of the buildings were on fire. Elkbar was amazed and a little frightened because he had never seen buildings made of ice on fire. To be certain, Elkbar had never seen anything made of ice on fire.
Luckily, he was a good shot. And with his thermonuclear refrigerator array, he was able to freeze the fire. frozen fire was another thing Elkbar had never seen before. But he was very delighted that the fires were put out. He expected all his fellow penguins to come out from hiding and scoop him up in their small shoulders with great cheering. But it never happened. There was not a penguin in sight. No, there was nothing.
Maybe everyone is at the town square, Elkbar thought out loud. So he began waddling quickly towards the center of town. As he did, he heard noises. But these weren't noises of penguins. No, these noises were something meaner. Meaner than the meanest penguin. Closer and closer he got to the sounds, which were actually at the center of town. Elkbar could see flashes of fiery light bursting around the corner, and as he came around the corner, he saw the penguins all huddled together in a big scared group. Then Elkbar saw him. He was a dangerous-looking robot lion creature. This was what all the other penguins were afraid of. Roar! The creature roared loudly. Prepare for a long journey, you pathetic penguins. Elkbar watched as the penguins cowered. You will all be my slaves, and do all sorts of for me, like my laundry, and build me a shrine, Bruce. For I am the great and powerful Bob, the robot lion.
It all came together inside Elkbar's brain. This creature, this Bob, the Robo-Lion, was capturing all of Penguintonia in order to make penguins his slaves. Elkbar would have none of this. He at once forgot how he wanted the penguins to like him. He didn't care if no one would ever like him. This menace must be stopped at all costs. The penguins of Penguintonia were his people, and he would do everything in his power to save them. In a flash, he jumped onto a statue of old Jacobin Coldnasal, the founder of Penguintonia, and he yelled in the greatest penguin voice, "Hey you, Bobby Lion! You aren't taking anybody anywhere!"
Bob turned in awe to face Elkbar. Who dares confront me? Call me Bobby. I detest that name. Ever so much. It is only I, Elkbar the Penguin, said Elkbar confidently. Well, Elkbar, prepare to be made into an example sandwich. We'll taste the power of my fire bolts. And with that, Bob shot 2 flaming balls of fire at Elkbar. Elkbar's eyes widened, but he was able to fire his ray gun, and the balls of fire turned into balls of ice. No thanks, Bobby boy, said Elkbar. I'm not hungry.
Now, it was Bob's eyes that widened. I cannot believe you missed that, roared Bob, and he leapt into the air to attack Elkbar with his giant, sharp robot teeth glimmering. Believe it, said Elkbar. Also, you better believe this too. Elkbar fired a blast from his ray gun, and it is mean Robo-Lion. He froze and he fell down with a mighty crash, and they broke into hundreds of pieces. But Elkbar and the other penguins noticed something bizarre. There was a fluffy amount of black something amongst the debris. A very dizzy-looking kitten was sitting, trying to collect his wits.
The kitten shook his head and jumped into the air, and from his backpack, which was too small to notice when he was sitting, a propeller came forth and began to carry the kitten away. The kitten shook his fist at Elkbar. "You haven't seen the last of me, Elkbar," yelled the kitten in a cute little kitten voice. "I'll be back for you and all your fellow penguins. And when I come back with a better robot suit, you will all be my slaves." And with this, a few evil kitty laughs, the kitten and his helicopter backpack was off.
Welcome. Elkbar had saved the day. All the penguins felt pretty bad for being jealous and not liking him. They were ashamed. Elkbar could have easily turned away and not saved them, but he did anyway. They begged for Elkbar's forgiveness, and of course he forgave them. He had finally gotten friends, and he was pretty happy, but he knew that Bob was still out there and must be brought to justice. And if he wasn't stopped, he may hurt others. So Elkbar set out to find him, and along the way he had many crazy adventures and met many new friends.
Those are stories for another day. Stay with us.
Luckily, he was a good shot, and with his thermonuclear refrigerator array, he was able to freeze the fire. Frozen fire. Let's do this again.
Oh, how Elkbar was so sad. He thought that he would fly back to Fargo and buy another, but because of all his fancy flying, he was running low on gas. He only had enough to make it home. In fact, he only barely had enough to make it home. His descent was a bit awkward, but he managed to land safely, although he had to walk quite a ways to get into town. When he had finally did arrive, when he did finally arrive at the edge of the town, he noticed there was something not right. Some of the buildings were on fire. Elkbar was amazed and a little frightened because he had never seen buildings made of ice on fire. To be certain, Elkbar had never seen anything made of ice on fire.
Tell me when.
Anytime.
Are you going to ask me if I'm blind? Asked Fargo, interrupting again. Because I tell you that I'm not blind. I can't. Wow, try it again. You know what? I know I've read this one. You want me to read it again?
Yeah.
All right, let's try again. Are you going to ask me if I'm blind? Asked Fargo, interrupting again. Because I can tell you now that I'm not really blind. I just took a vow of blindness. I messed it up.
Didn't we read this one already?
I know we did.
I know we did too.
I kept on screwing it up.
Maybe we didn't finish it.
Are you sure it's one you actually finished?
Look.
So after making a quick stop at the gift shop and buying the potion and a nifty t-shirt, Elkbar was on his way back to Penguintonia, which is where the penguins lived. But his flight back, something explained.
Ready? Yeah. Elkbar had no clue where he could go to make new friends. For the other penguins knew that I can't read.
Alright, try again!
I'm still laughing. Let's try again, alright. Elkbar had no clue where he could
And away.
Alright, Jay, step in, Jay. Last chance.
Alright, try it again. Elkbar had no clue what he could do to become friends with the other penguins. But he knew someone that might.